I move to open the Town of Marshfield Conservation Commission meeting of Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we are being recorded, and we are out on Zoom in the event of anything going wrong electronically. We will continue the meeting here in person, and as always, it is available on Marshfield Community Television after the fact. Minutes for 7:23. Did you get any
I did not receive any edits.
edits or changes? In that event, I recommend that I move that we accept the the minutes as written for July 23rd, 25 meeting. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our first hearing has been withdrawn. That is 37 Malden Avenue, RDA 2527. The applicant has requested withdrawal, so I move to accept that withdrawal. A second, please.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. And next up is 22 Cove Street, which has already been opened, and the hearing officer is Commissioner Malafronte.
Thank you. Is anyone here in the audience representing 22 Cove Street? Or is anyone on Zoom representing the applicant? Hearing nothing. Table it till the end of the meeting?
Yeah, we could table it until an applicant may arrive.
Okay. We'll just table this until the end of the meeting. Do I have to take a vote or?
We'll take a vote.
Okay. I move to table 22 Cove Street until later in the agenda. You have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye. Next, we have a new hearing, 37 13th Road. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, to consider the request for determination of applicability filed for 13th Road in Marshfield. And the hearing officer is Commissioner O'Donnell.
Thank you. Michael, we all set? I think all they needed was taxes, right? For this project? Admin-
Yes, all administrative requirements have been met. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anybody here to present this project? In person, on Zoom? Not at all? I was out, visited the site the other day. It looks pretty straightforward, but I did have a couple questions that I wanted to ask the applicant. Michael, do you have any thoughts on this project?
Yes. So to support the vertical structure of the staircase here, they're proposing 2 diamond pier footings. It's a little unclear how they plan to be supporting the bottom step, whether it's a pad here or some other sort of footing. Given this area, the best footings would be either an additional diamond pier footing or 2, driven wooden piles, or straight sonotubes.
Yeah, do you have, can you scroll down? Do you have the picture of the existing entranceway? Yeah. So that's the existing entranceway with the pad.
I'm not sure if they're aiming to keep this pad or if they, that's one of the unanswered questions we would
Well,
like.
yeah, I mean, the owner was there, but this fellow McDermott, Daniel McDermott, was the fellow he had doing the work. And so we did talk about the fact that if you let the decking, the deck has to come out further than, right now it's basically 3 steps in the doorway. There is no, a platform there. So that's going to have to come out. further. I mean, I think it's gonna be 40 inches out. That's not 40 inches out. And then there's gonna be 3 steps up to the deck, to the platform. So they can't reuse that pad, that cement pad there, that's the current base, because the stairs are gonna extend out further than that. And so that's what I was asking them. They were gonna pour a new concrete pad. And given the location, you know, I was asking him, well, would you consider doing something else, diamond pier footings or sonotubes or something to support the stairs, as opposed to, because I thought we don't really like to have cement concrete pads, that close, to the ocean. I mean,
Exactly.
it's a barrier beach, coastal dune, land subject to coastal storm flowage. So, and I kind of thought that would, we could recommend that, but I guess Andrew didn't weigh in on whether or not he liked this, he didn't say he didn't approve this design or like this design. So I said, we would have our recommendations, but the building commissioner would also weigh in. But I was hoping to talk to Mr. McDermott, because
Right.
I know I talked to the owner, and the owner had more questions than I had. So
Wow.
I don't know what to do. Should we defer it or
We can continue it.
continue it? I don't know if someone's gonna show up. I did talk to the owner, and he thought that someone would be here to discuss it, because I did say I had that question, so.
That slab at the base of the steps, is that a poured concrete, or is that a discrete block that's, sitting there? And
I think it might have been poured. I couldn't tell you right now. I mean, I know it's not loose. It's in there, very solid. All I know is the steps are gonna have to come out further than that, so that cannot be used. So they're gonna have to do a new footing. So, and that was the other question I have. Are you just ripping everything out of there? It's not clear in the plans that, they're, taking that pad out, but it didn't seem to me to be, just looking at the geometry, it could be used for the new steps, so. I don't know, did anybody else have any questions? So again, I was hoping to talk to the person in charge, so,
I think we need to continue.
okay.
Again, unless someone comes on later, but for purposes of maintaining order, I
Yeah,
would
just
move to
keep
continue.
flowing.
So
Okay.
table for now and continue.
We can table for now, and then if no one comes, we can revisit
Continue at the
these
end, okay.
at the end and
All right.
vote to continue
So I make a motion to table this till later.
till later in
Okay.
meeting.
All right.
Second?
Second for the table?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I thought Craig was second.
I was, but that's okay. 2
That was the
seconds.
second question mark.
Okay, another new hearing for 11 Branch Street. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, to consider the after-the-fact request for determination of applicability filed for 11 Branch Street, and the hearing officer is Commissioner Miles.
Okay. This is 64 square foot shed and land subject to coastal storm flowage. Is anybody here from 11 Branch Street? On Zoom? Oh geez, we're not having any luck tonight.
Everyone must be at the fair.
In the
We're
rain?
stuck in the traffic. I worked with Mr. Vofung regarding this RDA, so I could likely answer questions that you have.
Okay, I guess I just wanted to know if the footings are already,
Yep.
everything's already.
This is after the fact. Everything's already completed. The shed in question is this shed here, as you can see on the screen. Once all the contents from the old shed have been moved over, he's planning on demolishing this old shed in the backyard. But everything's been constructed for sonotube concrete footings, and it's a 64 square foot shed.
Okay, does he need a floodplain permit for that?
So, believe he does.
Flood zone, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there may have been some confusion because a shed 64 square feet or less, you don't need a permit for. You don't
That
need a-
he
you
did
don't need-
mention that
you
it
don't
was
need a
right
building
below
permit.
the threshold for building. Yeah.
So I don't know how Andrew treated it.
Andrew has no comments regarding this property.
But if we're good with it, I think.
Yeah.
We're good? Or do we,
We do not have anything to the contrary from the building commissioner.
okay. All right, well. Mike, did you have any other special conditions?
Yeah, I would suggest the following: ensure best management practices are followed before commencing. Well, obtain all pertinent permits regarding the work that was already completed, and to seek guidance from myself or the conservation agent on work beyond the approved work activities.
Okay. Yeah, I would maybe just follow up with Andrew to make sure that he doesn't need that floodplain permit.
Okay.
Cause I don't have the bylaw in front of me to determine what it is, but, anyways, just to make sure. Okay, well, I suggest we go ahead and issue determination of applicability with a +5 and a -2. Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay. Another new hearing. 7th Road. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, to consider the request for determination of applicability filed for 29 7th Road, and the hearing officer is Commissioner Platt.
Thank you. All right, so, Mike, have all administrative requirements been met on this?
Yes, all administrative requirements have been met.
Okay, so this work's located in a barrier beach coastal dune, land subject to coastal storm flowage, zone AO. And do we have, a representative, I think Jay Toner, you want?
Yes.
Okay,
Correct, yeah, thank you for having me.
thank you. Can you, explain the project, please?
So I'm gonna build a deck for my mom, yeah, like you see, 12 by 22, and about 3.5 feet off the ground. And I'm gonna do as many diamond piers as possible, and then very minimal footings if I have to, but mostly, I'd like to do all diamond piers. And I ripped down those, by the way, I'm gonna rip down the little platform you see there with the stairs. And come off that and then create those stairs heading towards the street.
Okay, that was one of my
Does that make
questions.
sense?
Yep.
Yep.
And underneath the deck is gonna be open, are you just leaving it grass?
Yes, I'm gonna leave it all alone, yep.
Okay. I just had the questions on the pilings and the existing stairs. Mike, did you have any comments?
Yes. The pros work, as mentioned, includes a 12-foot by 22-foot deck and staircase at 29 7th Road. The deck is proposed to be supported by diamond piers. And this is Barrier Beach coastal dune, so typically the commission would recommend a clearance of at least 2 feet under the structure. Here you have about 3.5, so that's met. And then the deck will be constructed over a pre-disturbed lawn area. This is a fairly developed portion of Barrier Beach coastal dune.
Right. Okay, yep, I was out at the site and it looked like there was gonna be plenty of clearance underneath there. Does any of the other commissioners have any questions or comments on this?
Nope.
You look like you might.
It doesn't need a special permit, not that it's our, and Andrew didn't comment on it.
He didn't
but
comment on
Because
it.
it's less than 4 feet in height with the encroachment into the setback, is that what it is?
I'm not positive regarding the
Surprised
setbacks.
he didn't have a comment on it. But it's not our,
You know, he says he's good with
yeah.
everything, with a few exceptions, and this is not one of them. Does this need a floodplain permit?
This one is in an AO zone, so yes,
There should be one filed, yeah,
I believe there
Okay.
is one in the
So it's-
system.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Perfect, okay.
Okay, anyone on Zoom or in the public have any questions or comments on this project? Okay, hearing none then, I am good with this. I'm gonna move to vote to close the hearing, and issue a determination of applicability with a +5 and a -2. May I have a second, please?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You
You
too.
too.
Bye.
Okay, next up, Town of Marshfield, 2160 Ocean Street. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, to consider the notice of intent filed by the Town of Marshfield for the South River Park. And the hearing officer is Vice Chair O'Donnell.
Thank you. Mike, administrative requirements? on
Yes,
that?
all administrative requirements.
Okay, and it's town property, so taxes are waived. I see. Susan Karen, present.
About presenters, I'm Susan Karen, I'm project manager for the South River Park expansion project. And presenting, we have Nicole Holmes, who, Tom, you can sit here.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it, and make introductions.
Sue, take the microphone off of the lectern and put it on that table if you would. I don't think people will be able to hear otherwise. Thank you.
All right, should I do that again? Susan Karen from the project manager from the South River Park expansion project. And our main lead presenter will be our lead engineer, Nicole Holmes from Niche Engineering. Pam Shadley is our lead landscape architect. Skylar Chick to the right is the project manager, and Tom Liddy is the environmental and wetland scientist who will be addressing the wetlands and mainly the invasive species on the site. So turn it over
Good,
to them.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll start, if that's okay. I'll just give a brief introduction. So thank you, Susan. But the team is requesting on behalf of the town of Marshfield to approve an order of conditions allowing the expansion of South River Park into a vacant parcel of land that the town recently purchased. The goal of the project is to expand public access to the South River, add passive recreational walkways, seating areas, and landscaping to enhance wildlife habitat and to really improve a somewhat degraded, formerly developed site. So I'll just do a brief overview of the project site and the proposed improvements. Nicole will talk about the resource area impacts, stormwater management, and Tom will talk about invasive species management. So the new parcel, which is to the west of the existing South River Park, so the right side of the screen is the existing park, the left side is the new parcel that's predominantly in color. It's bordered on the south side by Ocean Street, which is the bottom of the screen. South River is on the north side. The existing park is on the east side or the right side, and an existing gas station is on the left side. The existing parcel itself includes a concrete slab and foundation from a former building that has since been demolished. That's prior to our involvement in this project. There's an existing asphalt driveway on the western side of the site, which is accessed from Ocean Street. And then there's some existing wooded vegetation along the shoreline and also near Ocean Street. And the interior of the site has very minimal vegetation, and Nicole will talk a little bit more about what the existing conditions are. The proposed improvements include, we'll start on the eastern side, repaving the existing walkway in South River Park. So that's sort of the loop that's on the right-hand side of the screen. That will allow us to create a universally accessible connection into the new parcel. And then within the new parcel, there are brand-new asphalt walkways proposed. They provide access to some new seating areas around the lawn areas as well. And then there is also a proposed new or repaved asphalt walkway from Ocean Street. And that access point is really for maintenance access, so it will have a vehicular gate at the back of the sidewalk, and that's for the town DPW to access the site for maintenance purposes. The walkways themselves around the middle lawn area and the lawn area to the north are all universally accessible. There's a proposed salvage granite block seat wall that is adjacent to that middle lawn area. It also retains the grade on the Ocean Street side of the park. There's a pair of benches along the walkway that extends out towards the shoreline, and then that walkway terminates in a circular seating area. And within that seating area, there are two curved benches, and we're proposing permeable pavers for the paved surface. All of those hardscape improvements are outside of the 25-foot no disturb zone. We are proposing a number of landscape boulders, which are the little kind of gray dots scattered around the site. Those can act as informal seating. They will also serve to demarcate some of the planting areas and edges of lawn spaces. So it's sort of a naturalistic element. There's a handful of existing boulders on site that we can reuse for this project. We are proposing to protect the existing trees along the South River. That's sort of the minty green color at the top of the screen. Those are all field surveyed. We're also proposing to protect the existing vegetation closest to Ocean Street, kind of the southeast corner. It's that same kind of minty green color. That area will also be surrounded by a wooden guardrail, kind of protect that area as sort of a wildlife habitat space. We are also proposing creating a clean cap soil cap across all of the publicly accessible areas of the park. So when the town purchased this parcel, they hired a licensed site professional to do a soil evaluation of the existing conditions, given that this site would be converted to a public open space use. Those soil evaluations resulted in the identification of some coal ash, subsurface coal ash. So the LSP's recommendation is to provide a clean cap over the areas that would be accessed by the public. So that's what we're proposing. So from a grading perspective, we are raising the site by about 3 feet, mostly the middle and the northern portions of the site. Generally, the existing condition is Ocean Street is higher and the site slopes down towards the South River, the steepest part being closest to Ocean Street. So the two areas that are identified as lawn, the green areas in the middle, those are all within a 3-foot clean fill cap. All of the proposed seating areas are over that cap as well. At the very northern edge and the northeast and northwest edges, that kind of curved shape, the proposed grades will slope back down to meet existing. So we have to meet existing at some point. On the plans, there's an orange dashed line that represents the surveyed FEMA Zone AE floodline, that's elevation 9. That is our boundary for all earthwork improvements. So our clean cap fill is outside of the flood zone. We're not proposing any fill or any earthwork within the flood zone at all in this project. Let's see. We are also proposing lots of new planting as well. As I had mentioned, the whole interior of the site is pretty much devoid of vegetation. There's a little bit of herbaceous material not many trees at all, except at the northern and southern ends. We're proposing 50 new trees on this project. So that includes 15 shade trees, 9 ornamental trees, and 26 evergreen trees. And there's a reason for the mix of those types of trees. The shade trees obviously will provide shade for seating areas, pavements. Ornamental trees are flowering, berry producing, so they'll be attractive to wildlife. And then the evergreen trees also offer habitat value to wildlife, but we're also proposing an evergreen buffer on the western side of the property. That's the side that abuts the existing gas station, so it'll be a visual buffer. And then the last thing I'll state is that we are proposing a few pockets of selective vista pruning near the river, just so the public can have a visual view of the South River. That's part of the reason for the town purchasing this property in the first place and for creating South River Park. That also ties into some of the management of invasive species, which Tom will talk about shortly. But for now, I'm going to turn it over to you, Nicole.
Great, thank you. So can we advance to the next, thank you. So every one of the plans does have a colorized for the different resource areas and the buffers. I don't know if we, want me to point out every one specifically, but for example, the 200-foot riverfront is that navy blue line, which is closest to Ocean Street at the entrance. So essentially, most of the work on the park is located within the riverfront area. Obviously, closest to the river, we have resource areas, land underwater, bank and bordering vegetated wetlands, as well as the bordering land subject to flooding, which is indicated by, I think it's like an orange color line, elevation 9. We have buffer zones in the local resource areas, the 100-foot buffer to the BVW, and we've also included the 25-foot no activity zone, which is part of your bylaw, and show the 50-foot and 70-foot for reference. And so those are sort of in the blue color and the sort of greenish teal color, just to give you a perspective on the distances here. And we're also not located in priority or estimated habitat, and there were no certified or vernal pools. So I don't know if there's any specific questions about any of the wetland delineations. If not, we can jump to the existing conditions and then the proposed comparison. Next. So this is a diagram that was located in the figures in the back of the notice of intent report that might be very helpful because it really color codes really the extent of what the existing site is, which is mostly degraded, dirt and some unmanaged brush. So that pinkish color really is all of the area that is already disturbed and primarily, dirt. For the purposes of our calculations, we considered it pervious, but honestly, it probably is acting almost impervious at this point in time. You can see the existing conditions here in the different resource area lines. And then if you can go to the next slide, sorry. This, sort of shows you the proposed conditions and the improvement in terms of removing all of that, unmanaged and compacted dirt, which will be replaced first with the clean cap, and then various types of vegetation that Skylar walked you through, especially all of the native plantings, the trees, and even the lawn areas will, in of themselves, before doing anything else, will be a drastic improvement to the site. It really allows us an opportunity to manage stormwater and to mitigate any impacts using low-impact development techniques, which is the primary approach for this project. We'll go to the next. Any questions on anything we've talked about so far?
So is there any actual stormwater equipment, or is it all just natural?
So today, obviously, there's no existing drainage out there today. There's no stormwater management or stormwater treatment today. Primarily, water just sheet flows across the ground towards the wetlands and towards the river. In the proposed condition, we will mimic that natural flow of water across landscape and across vegetation, but we do have the permeable pavers that are located in the circular seating area down towards, So those will be permeable pavers. So a large majority actually of the paved surfaces will flow across grass. And if they ultimately get to that point, they would be able to be infiltrated through the permeable pavers. But honestly, given the the good underlying soil conditions and the cap and the permeability of that soil, as well as the new vegetation, most of the water will be infiltrated into the ground as it flows across sort of uniformly, which will be a good thing. We have modeled every storm event existing compared to proposed, and we would be reducing both the peak flow and the volume of runoff. And so that extra volume is all going back down into the ground and helping to recharge the wetlands in the river in a more natural way.
Very good.
So the only other feature you may have seen on the stormwater map is that there is a point where the new park and will meet the old park, and the paths sort of are naturally creating a little bit of a ravine or a place that could potentially trap water. So we introduced some traditional drainage features, really just to get the water underneath the path through a culvert as opposed to over the path, which could cause icing or other maintenance issues. So really the only stormwater management feature would be that area drain with the pipe to a discharge to riprap in the permeable pavers that have an underlying reservoir below, which are designed in accordance with the stormwater policy standards.
Good with that. Any other commissioners have any comments on the stormwater part of it?
I just have you brought up the culvert underneath the path. Is that like a yard drain into a pipe?
It is.
Okay. Do you, with the vegetation, vegetation proposed, do you envision that being clogged at all from like leaves in the fall? Just with it being 6 inches and 8 inches?
Being small diameter.
Yeah, is that something that was thought of, or do you have, or
Yeah.
upsizing could potentially be avoid that? I envision this being managed and maintained by the town, and with that, maybe not as regular as some other private projects. That's my only thought with that.
Okay. So sometimes I think we could talk to DPW about the types of grates that they prefer for ease of maintenance. Sometimes we'll use more of a beehive
Dome, yeah.
grate, a domed grate. That helps that a little bit because only the bottom edge would start to be accumulated. I mean, we're not heavily reliant upon it. It's really just something to make sure that that area doesn't become a nuisance, doesn't become muddy or anything to that effect. I mean, we anticipate highly draining soils and vegetation to really absorb it. So that's sort of like a belts and suspenders, but I agree, we do not want to allow that to be
Yeah,
clogged.
I think maybe a
so.
dome, great.
Okay,
Yeah, that would be helpful.
And just to add to that, the location of the area drain is within proposed lawn, so it's going to be kind of a mowable surface. And it's right next to the paved walkway, so it'll be very visible, not really a remote location.
Right.
So that should help.
How is the environmental cap being constructed? What are you using for that? For the soil? Is it geotextile? How are you doing that?
So it'll be a clean, ordinary fill, the top layer.
Certified? Is it certified clean fill or that you're bringing in?
I assume so. We have Vertex Companies as a subconsultant on our team. They're the LSP. They were also the LSP that the town hired for this site to do the soil evaluation. So they will write the specific requirements for the cap. It will be on a geotextile marker barrier as well.
Okay.
And the very top layer will be either 6 inches of loam for seeded areas or 12 inches for planting areas of loam, but that'll be within that 3-foot cap itself.
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, the only other thing I was going to point out was just sort of a bullet list of the mitigation measures that we are proposing. We've talked about many of them, but just to reiterate, the compacted dirt removal, the revegetation of the degraded areas, which, on this diagram are all shown in purple, so that's substantial. The native plantings, invasive species removal, which we can learn more about in a moment. The construction, erosion, and sediment control plan, so you received that plan. the post-construction stormwater management in accordance with the DEP stormwater policy in your local bylaw, and then the long-term pollution prevention plan, which again would include the permeable pavers, the area drain, and the riprap outfall where the area drain discharges to.
I have one additional question with the plans. The area between the 100-foot and the 200-foot, or the 100-foot BVW line and the 200-foot riverfront,
Yep.
is that just being maintained? Like it's a steep slope off Ocean Street. Is that just being maintained, or is it going to be replanted in?
So it's a combination of the two. So the portion closest to Ocean Street, there's existing vegetation, so that we would maintain, with the exception of some invasive species removals. Yep. And then there's an area, if we head sort of north of there, there's some new additional planting. That's sort of where the cap on that side of the site transitions or starts, yes. So there's some planting along that edge. We're using, I didn't mention this before, but we're using shrub planting around the edges of the cap as a deterrent to prevent the public from accessing uncapped areas of the site. And that's based on discussions we've had with the LSP. And then the lawn area is the 100-foot buffer is just south or outshore of that little lawn area. That's all 100% capped.
The reason why I asked is it looks like there's an existing septic system and septic tank. It looks like it's called out for the septic tank to be removed, but is the leaching system just going to be?
So that was noted on the survey based on record data. Since the survey was done, the town has provided documentation and confirmation that system had been approved, I think in 2011, but it was never installed. So it actually doesn't exist.
Oh, all right, perfect. That was my only comment.
Tom?
Okay. Good evening, Commission. Again, for the record, my name is Tom Liddy, professional wetland scientist from Lucas Environmental. We were retained by the project team to delineate wetland resource areas on the property, as well as develop an invasive species management plan for the ultimate goal of hopefully eradicating invasive species, but at least managing them to the maximum extent practicable. So in developing this plan, the goal was really to provide sort of like a toolbox of different options, management options, based on the different species that are present, so that the Open Space Committee and the various stakeholders have a firm grasp on what's out there, what the options are, and then we provided some recommendations on what I felt was the best way to move forward with the management. So in the invasive species management plan was included as an attachment into the NOI, so I'll just give a brief overview of the various components of the plan. So on the screen, it's called Figure 1. It maps the various areas that we looked at. And on this site, we have the usual culprits, Norway maple, black locust, oriental bittersweet, garlic mustard, some Japanese knotweed, multiflora rose, glossy buckthorn, some European privet, and Japanese barberry. So in the report, I describe Area 1, which is the red band around between the river and the disturbed portions of the property. This area is characterized, greater than 75% invasives. That edge habitat kind of provides an ideal, and water source provides an ideal for colonization of the invasives. Most prevalent there is the black locust and Norway maple in the overstory. In the understory, we have the multiflora rose. We have, shrub forms of those trees. The biggest problem there is the bittersweet, which grows not only in the ground cover, but also on vine form, and they climb up the trees. Area 2 is that yellow area, which is that disturbed area that's been described by the team. There's not a lot of vegetation growth out there, but as early colonizers, we noted Japanese knotweed, as well as the black locust starting to grow. Area 3 is that blue polygon along Ocean Street, which is that wooded area. And again, it has the Norway maple and black locust, as well as multiflora rose and some small pockets of knotweed. Some of the stakeholders requested we included the existing park as part of this plan. So Area 4 is the orange polygon located off to the right. That includes the area around the boardwalk as well as the embankment leading down to the river. Noted there was the multiflora rose and small areas, small pockets of knotweed as well as bittersweet, again, is one of the big culprits. So in this plan, we recommended, even though they're non-native, but the trees along the brook there, the black locust and Norway maple, if they're in tree form, we recommended leaving those in place, although they're not native. They do provide shading for the brook, habitat, and they're important features, but we would suggest removing the shrub form of those species, as well as removing the multiflora rose with mechanical methods, meaning cutting at the base. And ideally, if you can get the roots out, that would be the most ideal, while being sensitive to the embankment there, so you're not destabilizing or causing erosion along the bank. In the other areas, area 2, that will that will be completely developed by the project. So the invasives there will be removed, and the native plantings that will be installed as previously described. Area 3, again, we're just looking to manage the undergrowth primarily. The mature locust and Norway maple trees will remain in place, and the underbrush with the rose and the smaller forms of the trees will be managed and removed. We also included some options for the more aggressive invasives, specifically the bittersweet and the knotweed, depending how aggressive the Open Space Committee would want to get with those. Although the bittersweet can be cut at the ground with the vines, we often recommend a small amount of herbicide be applied to the stem to hopefully kill the root system, because they'll just keep regenerating and regrowing. Similar to the knotweed, we recommend cutting at the base and then injecting with, it's called the cut stem method, and you would inject a mild herbicide into the hollow stem, again, for the purpose of trying to kill the root system, because the rhizomes in particular of knotweed are the most troublesome to eradicate, because they just, they go everywhere. So so this plan, it like I said, it's kind of like a toolbox depending on, I think a lot of this, we rely on volunteers or funding that may come down further down the road. But again, we just outlined what's there, the best ways to manage it, and our suggestions. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Anyone have any questions on invasives? We could actually spend a lot of time on that, but
We could.
So many questions. But not for this.
I thought this was a very detailed invasive management report from what we've seen previously. So.
very good. Is there anything else?
Just wanted to note your notes from the administrator indicate that the soil that's on the site for that Memorial Park and the bin blocks on the site right now is going to be spread out on the site. Your notes say that, but that's incorrect. We're going to remove, we've already started to remove material. We're trying to reuse as much of that material as we can at the park. And we'll get all of it off the site. Final disposal of all of it, I'm not sure where we're going to do with it yet, but we're going to try and use as much as we can of it. It won't be used on the site.
It's not suitable to be used
No.
there? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is William Fenn. I'm the South Conservation Commission.
Okay.
And particularly for the wetlands.
Very good. Mike, just to go back to the beginning, I assume you're good with the wetland delineation.
Yes.
Conservation officers work with open space throughout the project.
Yes, we did.
I have a question, if I can. Just this is more as this moves forward. Is there funding? How is this all funded, and are all of you guys retained through construction?
It's all yours, Susan. For the record, so this is permitting phase and design construction.
Yep.
Drawings and cost estimates for the next phase has all been funded through CPC funds.
Okay.
So now we're moving in, once we get the permits, to phase 2, which is we're going to CPC in the fall to fund the actual construction. And so we do have in the budget some money set aside for invasive species management, so it'll just depend on how we handle that, how aggressive we are, and hopefully we'll be successful in getting funding. We already have a placeholder on the warrant
Yep.
for the fall town meeting. And as we go forward, we have an organization that works with DPW, the Friends of the South River Park and Greenway. We work in conjunction with DPW in the Veterans Park, because there's a Veterans Honor Roll in that site. So we all work together on the maintenance and deal with things like the pipe you were concerned about, the clogging.
Yep.
Because there is one that's similar, a culvert on the site that we do take care of.
Okay,
And so we'll just go forward and that will be it.
awesome, thank you.
Yeah, for the commissioners, I don't know if you all recall that there was an old dilapidated building on
Yep.
that site. It went back to like the 1920s. It was originally a cement block factory. Then after that, it was town barn, being, town highway department. Then later on, various other uses, but ultimately it was condemned and then it collapsed. So this will be a vast improvement.
Yeah.
Any other comments from commissioners? Cory?
Couple questions. Are all the trees along the riverbank Norway maple or black locust? Or,
I think there might have been a red maple in there.
oh, just like one tree?
Maybe one or two.
Oh, okay.
They're primarily the Norway and the locust.
Okay.
They're not very mature, but, they're probably 5-inch DBA, maybe a little bit bigger, but, so that's why we don't want to cut those down.
Okay, so I think I saw like there was gonna be tree protection for them. What does that entail?
So tree protection, so we would likely do tree fencing. Because that area is outshore of the bulk of the improvements, that will be fenced off to all construction activities anyway. For the trees that are within the actual park areas that would be retained, probably tree protection fencing as well. So it could be snow fence, it could potentially be chain link fence, depending on the proximity and vulnerability to construction activities. So that's something that we would continue to work out, but we do have some tree protection details. I think they're shown on the site prep and demo plan, drawing L-1.0.
Yeah. So,
Page 11 would be,
Thank you.
at the plant list for what you're proposing was really good. So I guess this is more for Susan. I'd read that there's a potential for future expansion of a greenway, and I was just curious about what that is.
Well, this project has been going on for, I think, 18 years. We
Oh,
started
okay.
around 2006 with the goal of trying to improve the ecological conditions along the South River. There was a lot of blighted properties that were never sold, they're never repurposed. So we started with one site. The South River Park was actually 3 different lots that we bought in 2 different times, created that park, and we've been gradually working to expand that greenway, and there are continued goals to do that. It actually extends all the way to the Pratt Farm on the Willow Street side. There's a walking trail there. The goal was to connect from the Veterans Park all the way to Willow Street and the Pratt Farm, which gets you to the Bridle Trail. So there are plans in place, but we take it one step at a time for funding and also just the availability of property for sale. Right now, we're looking at future easements on some properties that wouldn't be, we couldn't acquire, but easements along the river. So it's a combination of acquisitions and easements, and it's just takes a long time. But we do have a long-range vision of connecting the whole thing.
Okay.
Anything else, Cory?
No, I think it's a great plan.
Anything else for commissioners? Nope. I'd like to open it up to public comment. Is there anybody who would like to speak? I see nobody in the room. I don't see anybody on Zoom. So, conditions, Mike? Anything out of the
Notes
ordinary?
just the following conditions, general conditions 1 through 18, which are our standard special conditions. Prior to construction, conditions 5 and 2, to have a pre-construction meeting and stake out the site. During construction, condition 11, to ensure best management practices are followed. And after construction, condition 1, to file for a certificate of compliance.
And I guess the only modification we requested was the beehive drain.
You have, Jane?
So, yeah. So, I believe Chair Hannafin is going to recuse from this vote
I-
due to her involvement in the Open Space Committee.
Yes, I moved to the audience because I wanted to hear the presentation, but because I am the Conservation Commission liaison to the Open Space Committee, I have worked on this, so I will be recusing on this vote.
So at this point, I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing and issue special conditions. Can I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great plan, and I'm very pleased to see one more piece fall into
All right.
place.
Yeah.
And in answer to your question, we are the design team that worked on the original South River Park. 13 years ago, it was Niche Engineering and Shadley Associates. That was our design, and we followed it through to the end.
Well, it's maturing
Yes.
great, it's really come out
It's a
fantastic.
lovely site. Thank you very
The
much.
Shadley
Thank
folks
you.
did a feasibility study, right? Remember
Yes,
that? That was
yes, I
part of
do.
it. And that was before we owned the Pratt property.
Yep.
Before we got this property, the Viviana property.
For the Greenway.
For the whole Greenway. So we had a feasibility study done and we're just following along ever since.
Thank you so
I
much.
hope we see you again in the future when we have another piece to plug in.
Hopefully.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, next up is 93 Central Street. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, to consider the notice of intent filed for 93 Central Street. And the hearing officer is Commissioner Miles.
Okay,
Hi.
hello. So, you want to talk about the project?
I do. I'd love to. My name is Rick Savant. It's Steinbeck and Taylor. And so, probably all aware that this is a proposed project at the Point Restaurant down at the Taylor Marine facility in the town landing. Generally what they're proposing, there's an existing outdoor seating area that's there. They currently use for dining and seating for whatever purpose. That they'd like to put a cover on. It's basically a pergola. I think I provided an example of what it's going to look like. It's basically a aluminum framed, louvered roofed pergola. Provide shade and protection from the elements, I guess, for the seating area out there. As you know, this area is a gravel yard. It's used for parking boats in the winter and was always used as a marina. And the restaurant, of course, is there now. And there's been some sort of restaurant there for some time, but they're proposing to cover that. It's 19 feet by 31 feet, which is essentially the size of the existing concrete patio that's there. It's a paver patio that's out there. They're proposing to support this with concrete footings. The property is located in the flood zone, of course. It's in an AE12. It's not in a barrier beach or anything else, but of course it's on the riverfront, being direct waterfront on the Green Harbor River, or the Green Harbor. So the company that provides these and builds these structures, I talked with them about the footings. I believe I provided with an example of the footing. It's basically a 2x2 concrete footing, which they told me they do by hand. Because I told him, I said, what are we doing here? We're gonna have equipment in there, we're right up against the bulkhead. He said they do it by hand, and they do everything they could to hand dig them. There's 8 posts going in, they're 6-inch aluminum posts. And I think you probably have this. This is a very similar layout to what they're doing without these brick posts, but that's how they're proposing to do it. It is detached from the structure. It's not attached to the actual restaurant. It's a slight separation. So it's a protective covering over the seating area that they have now. And obviously, we're very close to all the resources. But this is what they'd like to do out there. We have a floodplain permit filed in process. And of course, we do have to get other approvals through the board, most particularly the zoning board of appeals. We have a site plan approval that we need to get. So that's the general project, and I'll answer any questions you might have. I'll try my best.
All right. I just had a couple of questions.
Sure.
About the structure
Mhm.
itself. So you have a picture of it? Like,
Yeah, you guys, I thought that was the mother provided. You don't
or
have.
maybe it was, or did I not see it?
I didn't.
I didn't
I didn't see it.
No.
It's in there, but obviously you don't have it.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
But these big brick things are not,
So, yeah, those brick columns are not being proposed.
okay.
So basically, it's an aluminum frame, it's a louvered roof that they can open and close, motorized. It's seasonal, it's not something that detects snow load or anything like that, according to the manufacturer of it, but there will be posts set in the concrete footing, below grade. Yeah, there's a good picture of the existing outdoor seating area that they have with the string lighting, and it's currently fenced in, and it's concrete pavers that are there. They basically want to cover that with this structure.
So is the fence remaining?
I don't believe so. I believe that's all going to be coming out, and this structure will be built right at the perimeter of the existing patio. Of course, less those concrete piers, but essentially there'll be footings below grade. But yeah, and I understand they might have some weather things that roll down.
Like awnings.
Yeah, on the side that they can come down,
Oh, yeah.
certain times of the, weather conditions, they can do that, but my understanding, it's not gonna be heated and it's not suitable for any type of a snow situation. They have to be left open in the winter. So, that's what I know about, some of what I know about the structure.
Yeah. So I guess and I'm not an engineer or anything, but seeing as how the moderate wave action line is just a couple feet away, is that, and these are hand dug, like, is that gonna stay there? Like, is
As
this-
far as groundwater issues type of thing, I'm not an engineer either.
Well, I don't know,
but-
just like
Just
this
the stability of it.
stability of it under a flood condition with wave action and surging.
I totally understand that. I mean, it is open. There's any sidewalls or anything to this. I have been working with the building inspector about this structure. Certainly gonna have to meet any type of flood compliance, but as far as flood ventings and openings, it's going to be open. There'll be certainly flow through that would occur here. It is outside of the wave action line. It is certainly in an AE12, and the ground grades there are between 8 and 9, mostly 9, elevation 9 around the patio. So they're certainly gonna have to meet any requirements that the building inspector, as far as structurally or what they're gonna have to provide for footings and stability, it's certainly gonna have to meet that for sure, where it is.
You have discussed it with him, and he's,
We've discussed the status of this. What is this? It's not a building. It's separate. It's not attached to the building. It is a structure, of course, and it does have requirement. I have discussed, what is this, and as far as permitting with other boards, but it's certainly going to have to comply with any any type of flood,
Yeah,
design that's
No.
required.
just hand dug with, like,
2 by 2 concrete footings,
okay,
2 foot by 2 foot
okay,
concrete footings poured in place for each of those posts. This company, they're out of Braintree. I've spoke with them, but I don't know them personally. They do these all over the place, I guess, and they have structural plans for the footings, which I'm assuming you didn't get either. I've seen. Forgive me, I don't know why that's up. Part of the submittal. That is an example, Sam, of, I had them, I said, we're gonna need something. What's holding this thing up? That's what they're gonna use. It's not site-specific as far as it being for this, particular pergola, but they wanted to see how we do with, something like this can be approved to the Conservation Commission before they actually have a structural plan designed for this site. But it's gonna be, according to what they're telling me, a 2 by 2 poured in place concrete footing.
okay.
And we're certainly open to any other, that's how they typically do it.
Yeah. So I guess that's okay. I would just wonder about like uplift and
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah, I mean,
seems a little weak.
yeah, I mean, it's just like the existing building that's there, right? I mean, that's sitting on the similar type foundation and
Yeah.
things in the same area, but I totally agree with you. It's gonna have to comply with that. I would think, that would come through the building permit process if they need to put a different type of screws or something in there to support this thing and go deeper.
Yeah.
And that was my concern too, is I'm going to be the one sitting here in front of the commission tonight. I'm like, talk to me about this building, how this is gonna be held in.
We don't have any comments on it, right?
It's 4 feet deep. I mean, it's gonna have frost protection. It's gonna be down, but
Okay.
that's what I know about the footings that they're proposing.
Well, it'll be subject to building department approval anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there is quite a bit of grade difference between the water and the height of this area. It's all been filled in, as you know, it's all made, and that bulkhead has been in there for quite some time. It's a lot higher, high water is about elevation 4.5. So it's, obviously a storm can cover this area, and that's an issue, of course, but normal tide, it's well above any tide influence that it might get through the groundwater, but it's close to it.
All right. And the materials are all flood damage resistant materials.
Yeah, yep. I mean, they're aluminum. It's really all there is, the posts support a aluminum, sort of frame roof, and then those louvers. So they're certainly gonna have to stand behind that product. This thing's gonna be designed, and I'm sure Andrew's gonna have some requirements for them, to make this thing stands up for flood compliance and safety, of course.
Okay. Lighting? Any lighting?
There is lighting in the frame. I hope you have this.
Yep.
All
Yes,
right, that's
we do
very
have
nice. So there is proposed lighting that's built into these main channels in the middle there. LED puck lighting that is built into the frame of this thing, downward pointing to light the area, of course, but certainly different than what's hanging out there now. But there is integrated lighting built into this thing.
Okay. And is that just gonna like plug in somewhere?
I don't know, I'm sure, I don't want to give any bad information. I don't know the answer to that, if it's plugged in or hardwired into the electrical panel in the structure, which I would believe it would be, but I'm just surmising. again, it's gonna have to comply with any electrical code and everything else for this type of, if it were an awning or some other type, yeah. Code compliant electrical stuff, but I'm not sure how it's gonna be
Okay. So
wired.
the whole thing is like motorized and electrified and,
That's, yeah, yes, yep, the lighting, I'm told the louvers are motorized. So I don't know if there's a switch or exactly how that works, but I'm sure it's accessible to the staff or whoever it would be, wherever it is, for them to open and close this thing if it's raining or sunny or not. But I'm sure there's a control device for that.
all right.
So electrical,
Is
Yes.
there gonna be like a separate panel for
well,
it?
that, I'm gonna stop. I don't-
I'm just trying to figure out, like, I mean, I get that there's like this box thing, but is there other accessory stuff that's gonna go with it that's gonna be like around or, you know?
I would have to have them come in here to discuss that stuff before I get myself in trouble. Definitely electrical in there,
Yeah,
yeah, which is gonna have to meet all the code stuff, but I don't know. Sorry, I'm sorry.
okay. Any questions from commissioners? Anyone in the audience, from public, any questions on Zoom?
Show. I love the stories.
Oh, sure, come on. Yeah, go ahead.
1948.
Yeah.
There's the Harbor Master building that I sketched on for you. Wow.
Hi, my name is Marlene Labossiere. I live at 75 Central Street, 3 houses down from the Point Restaurant. I guess I'm just here to support Taylor Marina and Dave, who runs the Point. They're wonderful neighbors and very caring people, and I'm sure that they're going to follow all the rules and regulations and have it be a great structure.
Okay,
They're very trustworthy people.
thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, any special conditions?
I would suggest the following, general conditions 1 through 18, which are standard special conditions. Prior to construction, condition 5 and 2, to have a pre-construction meeting and stake out the site. During construction, condition 11, ensure best management practices are followed. After construction, condition 1, to file for a certificate of compliance.
So,
An erosion control, condition 1, to
Wait.
ensure that erosion control is in place throughout the duration of subsoil disturbance.
All right, I'm gonna move to close the hearing and issue those orders of conditions. Have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Corey, for
Thanks,
working
Rick.
through that with me.
Let me
Sure,
show
yeah,
you
let me
guys.
just
This is
below.
pretty
You
interesting.
have a whole set of those for the whole town?
I don't think it's not the whole town.
This was
Yeah, I've seen one
1948.
similar up
That's
by
where the
Union
Harbor Master
Street,
building is now.
up by Hatton Hill.
Yep, well, we have
What, this
most,
square in the water?
Yes.
Oh, wow,
yeah.
old days. They just ran out of room, so they started filling it in.
There's a little bit of fill there.
That's a fill.
It was all, yeah,
At the point.
yeah,
Yeah.
where the ramp is. And
Yeah, yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah,
permanent, I believe.
that's really interesting. Thanks.
Yeah, nice. But the building is there, that's still the same restaurant.
Yeah.
That's what
Wow.
they built in 1892.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Really? It's that.
Rick. Sorry.
We should attach the pergola to the structure since it's been around forever. We'll keep it in place.
Well, we can't because it won't meet the sideline setback to the property. So
Always something.
it's detached. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Tupelo Road. This is a continued hearing, and the hearing officer is Commissioner O'Donnell.
Thank you. Michael, how we all set for administrative requirements?
Yes, all administrative requirements have been met.
Okay, so this is about a building a 24 by 26 detached garage on a concrete slab. Is there anybody here to present it? All right.
Yes, Rick Grady, Grady Consulting.
All right, Rick, go ahead.
Hi, this is an existing property at number 6 Tupelo Road. There's an existing paved driveway, circular paved driveway. And basically the owners would like to construct a 24 by 26 foot garage outside of the 25-foot wetland setback. This property was developed in approximately 1972, so prior to the 2002 date in the commission's bylaw, so it's subject to a 25-foot setback, so we are conforming with that. We have an intermittent stream and an associated inland bank to the north side of the property that's delineated on the plan. Total distance between the edge of the inland bank and the proposed structure is approximately 27-ish feet, a little bit outside. We need to do a small amount of paving, about 120 square feet, to connect the existing driveway into the garage. We proposed erosion control between the proposed construction and the resource area. We've also proposed some conservation markers, I believe 6 of them in total there, between the used part of the yard and the wetland resource area. With that, I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you very much. That was pretty direct and straightforward. I went out to see the site prior to the last meeting. We were continued, so it's still fresh in my mind. I met with the homeowners. We walked out on the site. Like I said, it's pretty straightforward. You get a good description. There's no trees are going to be impacted by this, and there is a slight increase in the impervious. About 744 feet, 624 is the garage, and then they, like you mentioned, they have to do a little bit more paving work so that the cars can pivot into the garage, so that's pretty much it. It's straightforward. Any of the commissioners have any questions?
I do not.
Michael, you were out there at the site. You have special conditions or any thoughts?
Yeah, I think you covered it. In addition to the garage, it'll require a small additional amount of pavement, 120 square feet of new pavement on the property, just to facilitate vehicles being able to exit and enter the new garage. It's going to be built roughly in this area in front of the vehicles here. And I would suggest the following conditions: general conditions 1 through 18, which are our standard special conditions. Prior to construction, condition 5 and 2, to have a pre-construction meeting and stake out the site. During construction, condition 11, ensure best management practices are followed. After construction, condition 1, to file for a certificate of compliance. And erosion control, condition 1, to ensure erosion controls in place throughout duration of work.
Okay, are there any comments from the audience here or on Zoom? Okay, so hearing none, I make a motion to close the hearing and issue the orders of condition and recognizing Mike's special conditions. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. You
Good
too.
job.
Chair Hannafin, if I may, for 1 second. Procedurally, the 93 Central Street property, they never received, DP number was never issued. So the discussion was carried out tonight, but technically it will have to close at the next meeting.
Okay. Okay. Okay, next up, we have the jetty, which I believe we need to continue.
That is correct.
So Jesse, would you motion and continue that? They're still waiting for ZBA
Right.
and,
Yep, understood. Okay, I move to continue the jetty to the next meeting, which is September
September 3rd.
3rd.
September 3rd. May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and I will do the next two. We've already continued 34 Marginal Street to October 1st, but we will reiterate that. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And 91 Old Colony Lane is already continued to September 17th, but we will reiterate that also. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, business. John Sherman Estates, is Mr. Driscoll here?
Mr. Driscoll, I spoke to him today. He cannot attend tonight.
Okay.
However, this is the A&R plan agreed upon by the planning board for this homeowner here, Mr. Larkin, in the John Sherman Estate subdivision, encroached on the set open space for the parcel. As you can see here, it's labeled Parcel A is the area of encroachment, which is 3,470 square feet. Here, to compensate for that, he has purchased the section of adjacent land, which is directly adjacent to that open space land from the Ruggiero property. And that parcel has 3,636 square feet. So there is a net addition in square feet into the open space area. But yes, that is the agreed upon A&R plan. And this will be land under care and custody of the Conservation Commission.
And what does planning have? Does planning?
Planning supports this.
They support it?
Yeah.
Okay. And does this close this issue out with respect?
That should be it. Seems to be the final piece of the puzzle.
I know, Bert, you have been on this since
Yeah.
the beginning.
Yeah. One question, Mike, there's no wetlands involved in those two little pieces, is there?
No.
It's just
Yeah, it's all upland.
open space.
Yep.
So do we want to wait and have him present this to us, or what?
I think he was under the understanding of just presenting the site plan here. It kind of shows the direct swap of parcel A, which is the area he encroached on, and then to supplement it with this additional parcel that he purchased for the open space square footage.
I know planning has worked this pretty hard.
Yeah, they
If-
have.
If they're happy with it.
Yeah, they are.
I am.
I agree. I know this has been going on a really long time. Okay, I move that so what are we doing here?
Support the A&R plan here. John Sherman subdivision.
I want to move this to September 3rd. So
Okay.
I am absolutely clear on what motion we need and, this, I just want to have some more details.
Understood.
So I agree. I think it's fine, but I want to know exactly how to characterize what we are accepting here.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay. We'll take that to September 3rd and, okay,
Do we
7,
wanna, address Cove Street before we move on to the new business? Just to close it out, or?
yeah, actually, we have
continue it,
two that we tabled here.
Yeah.
or- Oh, is there two?
Yeah, Cove and,
13th.
um, so I move to continue Cove Street to September 3rd. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
And I move to continue 37 13th Road to September 3rd. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Cottage Lane, vegetation management. This has come up before in this neighborhood. So the property line is behind, there's fence.
Yeah, there's this row of shrubs, and then the property line would be directly behind that, roughly.
And they just want to keep a 3-foot clearance
Yes.
there for invasives.
Yeah, to prevent nuisance vines and other plants from essentially taking over their fence line, just to maintain that 3 feet of clearance between the fence and the brush, both for fence maintenance and ease of not having to clear vines growing through every nook and cranny of your fence.
I don't have any problem with that. Does anybody object? Mr. O'Donnell is going to recuse because he lives in the neighborhood and has dealt with this. So I move to accept a 3-foot wide vegetation management zone behind the fence for 7 Cottage Lane. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Hazard tree removal on Damon's Point Road. You have been out there and
Yes.
it's,
I met with Mr. Leonard. He's going to take a couple limbs from a surrounding tree here as well, but the tree will remain. There's just a dead limb hanging off. This tree, you can see from the base that several trunks have, or 2 trunks have been removed in the past due to the same issue. Some of the limbs are dying and creating the hazard of falling onto his property, specifically his deck, which is directly under the hazard tree.
seems reasonable to me. Anyone have any objections to this particular tree being removed?
Nope.
I move that we allow the tree at 70 Damon's Point to be removed. Can they stump it at like 4 feet, or
Yes, I can tell them it's on the edge of lawn, but I can encourage them to
if you
stump
can
at 4
encourage them
feet.
to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, I move that we allow that tree removal. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now we have the clearing on Revere Street. Is Mr. Brufy here?
Good evening.
Good evening. Would you just state your name and address, please?
Yes, I'm Barton Bruffy. I'm from
Brufy, I'm sorry, I mispronounced.
52 Pope's Point Road in Carver. And I'm a Massachusetts Title V inspector. And I've been doing it for about 20 years, and I pretty much enjoy it. I had the chance to meet some of the realtors, and one of the offices one of the places I do business with is Jack Conway Realty, and Terry DeLuca. I got to know him pretty good, and so this piece of property on Revere Street came up one day, and he mentioned it to me, and he thought it might be a good investment for me. He knew I was looking for something like that. It wasn't too expensive. I went to the property, and it was pretty much overgrown. So I actually took it into my own hands to go out there and do some brush mowing. And my intentions, is just to try to keep it clean and clear, the brush and bull briars, so at least I can walk around on the property. There's an area in the back where there's a lot of people that have been dumping stuff like debris, cushions, rubber mats, stuff like that. I'd like to try to at least get permission to clean the place up a little, and I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna do with the property, long term, but I would at least like to keep it clean in the area that I mowed, if, which is, it is pretty high, the area that I mowed. It's not like in the, like a low area. And there wasn't I didn't see any signs of, like skunk cabbage or pepper grass or anything like that. I mean, I'm not real good at determining what's what as far as plants, but I know there was a lot of bull briars. I even got scratched up a little bit. So that's my intent. I just basically want to clean it up and keep it clear and nice,
Okay, so, well, we have two problems here. One is there is wetland in this area.
Yeah.
And two is you crossed over into an abutting parcel that is owned by the Conservation Commission.
Oh, I didn't know, yeah.
Yeah, can you, what is the wetland situation, Mike?
So this area back here is towards the back of the clearing. I was on site with consultant Bill Finn. We took a few soil samples, looked at them. All the indicators pointed to hydric soils, thick, dark horizon, and some evidence of modals as well. And as you can see, there are other hydraulic indicators such as buttress tree roots here on these red maples. The main vegetation around this area was sweet pepper bush, which is a facultative wetland species. There was also cinnamon fern growing in the area, as well as Mr. Boufry noticed a plethora of greenbrier. But that seems to be the major plants growing in that area. All the trees were left untouched, but it does look like a couple hundred square feet in the back here was cleared.
So how big is the parcel?
It's 100 by 120.
And I made this hand markup. This is not surveyed or anything of that nature, but this is a rough estimate of the area where clearing occurred on the property.
So that upper bit where, we have the yellow line, which I know is not necessarily completely accurate, but that is roughly where the conservation property is next to this. So there's a chunk taken out of that. Okay, so we are going to need to get that line surveyed so that everyone is clear on where your property is and where the conservation property is.
Okay.
That is step one. And we're going to require you to do that.
Yep.
Once we know where that line is and where the encroachment on conservation is, we can determine how much of the conservation land you cut. And depending on the size of that, we can make a decision as to whether you need to replant that. I think the area that you cleared that you own is, you didn't take any trees down.
No, I didn't even have a chainsaw with me.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know that. But, you did clear it, and it is wetland area. So,
Yeah, it's within the buffers, within the, buffer.
yeah. I would say step one, here's what I'm thinking, and, okay, get a survey
That's
and
right, yeah.
figure that piece out. I would say that I don't, doesn't make sense to me to make you do a whole planting plan and totally revegetate everything you mowed, because it was, if left to itself, it's going to revert
It'll grow back.
to what it was
Right.
before you went in there. However, you have run afoul of regulations. So my thinking would be find out where the line is and have the area that you cut on conservation land, replant it. And then maybe we could see our way to allowing much of the rest to revegetate naturally.
Well, the other part of it is to decide what he can actually
What he can actually
maintain
do.
in the future, so you have
What
to have
is-
the wetland.
We need a
line.
wetland line.
Right.
That's my question too. So, when you went out there, you're pretty certain that this is wetland or resource area? or buffer?
An area back here, when I took soil samples and the vegetation all pointed for it to being a wetland.
Okay, because it doesn't, I just looked quickly on the GIS, doesn't show any
Right.
DEP linear features or anything like that in this area. I mean, this specific area.
Mm-hmm.
So I could kind of see someone like yourself, that issue, like
Right.
purchasing the property and kind of not being aware and
Yeah.
clearing a little bit. I guess getting
A
soil
wetland.
scientist to certify that there is or isn't wetlands on the property is probably
Mm-hmm.
advised, right?
Yeah, so we can give you a list of wetland
I think
delineators.
I already have that
You
list.
have that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need to hire one of them to delineate the property. You may be able to stay on the front portion of it, but we need a wetland scientist to
Okay.
clarify that for us. So you need a wetland delineation and a survey of the line on the
Right.
northern or western, whatever that boundary is. And then we can go from there.
Sounds good. Oftentimes, surveyors work or they have contracts with certain wetland professionals, so it may be worthwhile to reach out to the surveyor first and see if they have a wetland scientist they suggest. Just in ideas of work sequencing.
Yeah, I think I have
Yeah.
somebody in mind.
Okay.
Okay.
I was just
That
gonna
makes
say,
sense.
like, I don't know what your long-term plan is, but, I mean, if you're not planning on building anything on it, then maybe just ANRAD type of filing is all that's needed
I
at
don't,
this point, or
I
or
don't
any type
believe,
of filing is needed?
town council indicated this is not a buildable lot.
Yes.
I don't know if that's entirely accurate. With the planning commission, the planning board,
The planning board or the building commissioner may have more information as to whether that's a buildable lot or not.
yeah.
I think a few factors come into play, like what zoning area it's in, et cetera, et cetera.
Originally, when I bought the property and I talked to Terry DeLuca, he said that he did talk to the building inspector, Andrew, I guess.
Andrew Stewart, yeah.
And he said that he measured it out on the, he said it wasn't in the flood zone.
Okay,
I guess he took the, this is actually what he gave me right here. And property here.
Okay,
And I guess the flood zone, he measured over from one of these edges here, and he said that it wasn't in the,
wasn't in the flood
Flood
zone.
I thought green was flood zone.
I'm not sure what's what.
I think this is all flood zone.
Yeah.
This is wet, definitely delineated wetland, but I think that is in flood zone. Can you, Mike, check with, do a little digging and between Andrew and Greg, maybe?
You can do it right here.
Yeah, you can hold it.
I can pull up the flood
Okay.
zone.
I guess my question is, so if it's in, let's just say it's in the flood zone,
Mm-hmm.
there aren't wetlands. He could theoretically clear without bringing in fill or,
Yeah, I
He
believe.
could clear up to the 50-foot buffer.
of any wetland.
Yeah,
Yeah, so if
Yeah.
let's just say it was free of wetland,
yeah,
theoretically,
Yeah,
yeah.
and as
And-
far as, whether it was a residential lot or record, Bob Galvin is usually the one that makes that determination
call.
at the end, so. If he said it,
What'd you say it was, Mike, R2 or something?
I'm not sure what
zoning.
residential area it is. I believe Kemp Park is in R2, but I'm not confident in that. I would defer to the zoning staff on that. The property is in an 89 flood zone.
yeah, can you show us where it is, Mike?
It's in an AE9 flood zone.
No,
Yeah.
just click on the lot, like, yeah. That's right there.
Okay, so it's that lot right?
Yep, right on the corner of Wellington and Revere Street.
yeah, so that is definitely in a mapped flood zone.
Which doesn't mean you can't build.
Yeah,
It's just,
No.
no, you can,
Yeah.
so,
but it's the wetland, piece that we need to be clear on.
Just confirming that or not.
Yeah, whether or not there are in fact wetlands, and if there are, can you get 50 feet away from them? And, use that portion of the property.
Yeah.
So, yeah, step one is a
Have a-
survey and a
Right.
wetland delineation.
Okay.
And that will answer some questions, and we can determine what needs to be done from there.
Okay, so I'll just contact you when I get that done.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And no more clearing till that time.
Right, no,
I'm
well,
not clearing.
there's a stop
Thank you for
work.
I can't get rid of the mattresses and stuff either, right?
The,
Mattresses.
Trash.
oh, the trash, you can get rid of the trash. That'd be great.
Let me show you, I'll show you a picture of it. It's like, I don't know what that is, some wood. It's cushions,
Trashy stuff, yeah.
Rubber mat.
Yeah,
No.
no, you are perfectly, within your rights to go in and clear that
Okay.
out.
All right.
That's your property and that's garbage on it, and yeah, that's not any issue for us.
it's good for everybody.
Right, if somebody says, hey, that guy's back on the
happens if
property,
this-
yeah, we'll know.
What about the trash in the conservation line? Can you take that out too?
Okay, so you understand what we need,
Yes,
and when you get that, we'll go from there.
okay. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Ms. Bruffy.
Night.
Good night. Okay, I have one new business item that was not on the agenda, and there has been a complaint filed about noise at the airport. They have been repaving, and the backup beeps on the equipment is driving people insane. So Bill had a meeting at the airport. Actually, there was a complaint, and Eric Kelly, Chair of the Select Board, came to Mike with it. Now, this is not our jurisdiction. However, Bill works closely with the airport, and he was at a meeting with them, and they discussed it. They have come up with, here, no, I don't. There is an alternative to the beep, beep, beep
Yeah,
backup.
the
Yeah,
that
it-
Amazon
Exactly.
uses.
Exactly, it
Yeah.
buzzes instead of beeping. So the airport is replacing whatever does that with the buzzers and lowering the decibel level. Bill?
Yeah, actually, the construction company, Lawrence, is re-equipping, redoing the equipment. They're taking the existing backup alarms off, 10 pieces of equipment, and putting on these new alarms that lower the decibel level at least, I don't know, something like 17 decibels. So they're really quiet. I mean, I have filmed video of them showing the equipment. You can hear the equipment before they put them on and the equipment after they put it on. And it makes a huge difference. So that's one solution that the contractors come up with. The other parts of the problem have been resolved to the extent that the complaint came in when they were paving or repaving the access road to the airport. And that access road abuts the residential area next to the airport. So that paving is completed now, and so a lot of the construction activity that's going on has moved out further onto the airport, out into the apron areas, and so it's also construction of pocket wetlands that you've seen. Pocket wetland number 1 and number 3 are in fairly close proximity to the residential areas that abut the airport. Those are now completed. So the heavy equipment is moved out further toward the runway. They're working on the aprons, tie down areas. And so the noise levels are significantly reduced. And that is the best they can do, I think, at this point in time. This was discussed at the weekly construction meeting we have on this past Tuesday. So Mike has notified Selectman Kelly that, those steps have been taken. And I think also the Shoreline Aviation and the Airport Commission has notified the select board that, they've taken steps to reduce the noise. So even though we don't have jurisdiction, it's not jurisdictional for the Conservation Commission noise abatement. But Mr. Kelly did request some information, and so we followed up and gave it to him.
Apparently, they were also starting before 7 a.m. and working
Right.
on Saturday. There were a number of noise violations, which, as Bill points out, is not jurisdictional to us, it's zoning and building, but the question came to us, so we wanted to get answers from Mr. Kelly and, the complainants. So hopefully that is in better, the worst of that is over for them. I know if I had to listen to that beep for days on end, I would shoot myself. But- I mean, they're horrible.
Wait till a helicopter lands in the neighborhood.
I know.
The buzzer makes a big difference.
Yeah, I hear the buzzers, as Corey points out, they're on Amazon trucks. And when I first started hearing them, I thought I had a young hawk
Yeah.
walking for food. I'm like, and I said, oh no, it's the Amazon truck. Okay, certificates of compliance. We have 24 Constellation Road. Are we finally
No
ready?
movement.
No movement?
No movement on that one.
Okay. according to Andrew, he says all permits have been completed and certificate of occupancy has been issued.
The piece about the mechanicals being higher than the first floor was a condition of our orders of condition, not his regulations from SE 42-1162. So
Okay.
it's an older order of conditions.
All right, then we're not going to issue that COC. SE 42-2950, 76 Carolyn Circle, we still have, they don't have a floodplain permit or a building permit, and no inspections from the building department. So I'm not going
Yes.
to recommend that we issue that.
They also had that issue about the vegetation. So I have to meet with Mr. Gomes on site to discuss that.
Okay.
And Harbor Master DeMayo did confirm that he received the shellfish mitigation fees.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's one less thing checked off.
One
their
less
to-do list.
hang up, okay. 278 Foster Ave. They have, we still have 2 additional piles.
Yep.
Do we have a new as-built that shows those piles?
The as-built that they gave us does not show pile locations.
Well, at the very least, we need an updated as-built before we can do anything.
I will request that from the applicant.
Farragut Road, we're still waiting for payments.
Yes.
Okay. Little's Lane. They have met our conditions, but they haven't had a final inspection. Have you done a final inspection?
Yes, I did the certificate of compliance site inspection. Everything was according to their proposed plan.
What do you think? We can,
If Mike said eyes on it, it's all
and
going into
it
play.
meets our conditions? Okay. I move that we issue the COC for 54 Little's Lane. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And SE 42-3018, 938 Summer Street. That is completed as planned. I move that we issue a COC. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, that completes our business for this evening. I move to close the Conservation Commission meeting for Wednesday, August 20th. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.